Jim? Oh, the other Jim. Good morning, Jim. Come on in.
No, you're good.
Yeah, like tomorrow's your moving on day, huh?
I just wanted to come in and take a minute of you guys' time just to express my gratitude and my thanks, especially to Jim for putting me in this position where I've been, you know, and allowing me to get a glimpse of the goings on around here, you know, and allowing me to be more of a people type of person. It's given me quite an experience just sitting out here in front and seeing the diverse types of people coming through and the frustrations and even the honors that are bestowed on certain people within these chambers, and the opportunity to come in here on Friday mornings with my brother and other men of faith to pray for the 10. That's what they've been doing for years, to pray for the 10. You know, my yaya always told me, pray, especially for our council, the 10 open, you know. So, and Jennifer for utilizing me all the time for whatever she does. It's an honor to help a person like Jennifer, you know. And this time here has been an experience for me, allowing me to grow personally and to be more of a like I said, a people person. And you guys are a big part of it. You guys always give me enthusiasm and help me through life. And I just wanted to say thank you. And hopefully, you know, somebody took notice of, hey, this guy's got a pretty good work ethic. He's here every day. Maybe somebody down the road will notice that.
Jim, I've taken notice of that from the day I ever met you. So, yeah.
I just, you know, I feel good but the mountains is my love. And when they want me to come up there, you know, you guys preserve and take care of our people as an entity. Well, I preserve and take care of my animals in my mountains. That's my love. And to see certain people come through the South Fork once in a while is a pleasure. And, you know, and like I said, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you guys just for putting up with me every day. It's been a pleasure.
You, Jim, go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy, congratulations. You know, I knew this kid when he was like this tall. When I was a sophomore in high school, my parents moved to Dixon. I was an RLE student, and Louis Adams asked me to come and live with him so that I could finish out my sophomore year. And this guy and his brother and two of his sisters were kind of my little brothers and sisters for that period of time. Watched him grow, watched him have his trials and tribulations. He's come a long ways. This is a good man. He's really worked hard to get where he's at. He carries himself really well. His spiritual sense is obvious. He prays every day, it's obvious. He carries himself in a manner that is representative of the tribe. And that's what we need more than anything else with someone of his quality. He grew up the hard way, but he's got a heart of gold, and I appreciate him very much. I'm gonna miss him. I can move people around. I'm gonna have to recruit one more, but his caring is, he's a mountain man. I mean, I'm surprised he stayed here this long, you know. He's got to be in the woods, and he knows the woods, and that's where he belongs. Congratulations, Jimmy. You're always in my heart.
Thanks,
you're my little brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Jim. Ellie?
Yeah.
Well, I would be really sad to see you go, but I know I'm going to see you at the gate like all the time. And I just commend you on the awesome job you did here and how you do it at the gate. Last year, this guy let two crazy girls take a brand new chainsaw and go save ourselves and to be able to get through. We couldn't get ours started. And so I was like, just flabbergasted that you would do that. So appreciate you always keeping an eye on us when we're up there too. So I know I'll see you again.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, Jim's just going to a better spot. So in a position that he's had, you know, lots and lots of times. So yeah, you know, Jim, you're great here. You're great anywhere. As you know, I think of you as a leader yourself. So really appreciate the time you did here. And I know you're going to be with us forever. So wherever you're going to be, you're going to be working for us and doing a good job wherever you're at. So really appreciate it. Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. And once again, Jim, thank you for the work that you've done up there. I've never did tell you this, but I've had a lot of people approach me and acknowledge to me that the guy that's working at the front desk has made them feel so welcome. And that always made me feel good because, you know, it's like, well, they're talking about Jim, you know, and I've watched you, Jim. I watched you welcome people in there, and you have done that. You got that personality trait where people just automatically are glued to you and know that you got a good heart, you know, and knowing that you're just going up to the gate. It just reminds me when Nadine was up there and how she used to, every single time we would go through there, she would always take a half hour, 1 hour just to sit there and talk with us, you know. And I always remember that. I always remember your mother. She was just a beautiful person. And I'm really happy to see that you're up there now, you know. So anyway, thank you for the work that you've done for us. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you coming back here again when you're done working up in the mountains.
Man, so cool. Thank you.
Carol?
Yeah, I just want to thank you too and appreciate all the words, you know, that, you know, I know the struggles that you've went through, and, you know, we talked about the struggles I went through, and you think, you know what, people can change, things do work out, and it's all with the power of prayer and all of that. And so I just want to thank you for being a role model for all of us and encouragement. I remember one day I told you, I needed to start exercising, and I told you to ask me every day if I was riding my bike, and you never did. So I thought, oh man, but I am riding, and yeah, my health is everything too.
Good,
So,
good.
but thank you. Just thank you for being you and the person that you are.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. I always say every time I see you, you have a smile on your face. And you're one of the few people like that. You always have a good attitude. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about customer service, and that's providing the best customer service. When people come in, the first person they see has a smile on has a smile on his face. He's happy to see him. He's kind. So thank you for that, Jimmy. It's always good seeing you. I'm going to miss seeing you out there.
Cool. Yeah, one of the things I asked Jimmy to do if we were going to have, you know, more station gate guards around, you know, because Jimmy, when he does that, he does such a fantastic job. I asked him to help be the trainer because he does such a good job out there in the field, you know. It's incredible, and obviously he would do a good job here, which he did. So the first time I met Jimmy was in the South Fork of the Jocko in 1967. And he was up there with his dad and his whole family and Nadine, and was with my dad and family and Bearhead Swaney and his family. And back then there was just, you know, wasn't that many people using the Jocko, and it was a little different. So I always think of the South Fork. When I think of that, I think of Jimmy and his dad, Louis, and Bearhead. So thanks, Jimmy.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Go ahead, Bing.
Yeah, I got to put my 2 cents in here too, James, before you leave. But, you know, Jim, you've come a long ways, just like everybody else says, you know, and I'm real proud of you, what you've done, you know, and praying like that, like you have, and seeing that you do that, you know, it's means a lot to me. You know, I've known your family like Jim did for a long time, you know, and probably even longer since Bub and Lloyd lived up there too, you know, so it's been a long time since I've known you, and I'm proud of you. I really am, you know, so I'll see you up there in the brush.
Cool.
I will.
I'm always waiting for you.
Okay.
And Carmen.
Got an eye out for
Carmen-
you.
Carmen
Jimmy?
comes through.
Yeah, Jim, it's, I gotta tell you, man, it's been a pleasure just these few months working with you. It's good to see you, man. Back in the day, you know, to see you now, and like everybody said, proud of you, man. Really proud of you.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
do what you gotta do, what you wanna
And I'm
do.
proud of you, Jimmy. Yeah,
I'll see you up there.
thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
James, you know, I've admired you a long, long time. And pretty clear you got 10 big attaboys from tribal council.
It's just great. Thank you guys. I love you guys, man. You know, you guys give me an opportunity to show the people that I can be cordial and a people person, and just extend my gratitude for where I'm at in my life nowadays. You know, I've had my self-produced trials and tribulations, but I survived through that. And I'm just looking forward to, I'm glad I saved myself enough time to live my last few years in happiness and gratitude, because I wasted a lot of years of my life, but I never was a bad guy. But when I was a bad guy, I tried to portray myself as I'm the baddest. But everybody knew, Jimmy, you're phony, quit being a bad guy. So now I'm gonna be a good guy. Love you guys, man. Thank you very much.
We'll see you at South Fork.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, all right. Next we have, what do we have next? Greg Spar. That's right. So many gyms. Come on up, Greg. Sorry, we're running a little late. We know where you work, though.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of council. It's good to see you all.
Good morning.
Do you have the PDF in front of you? I'm starting on page 8.
We do.
Right, thank you. So the first resolution I'm presenting today is perhaps mistimed. It would have been better served last Tuesday, but I think it's important that we present this resolution. It is acknowledgement of the bipartisan infrastructure bill and that it is providing the funding for the completion of the Water Rights Settlement Act, the portion of it that is discretionary. This is the resolution accepting, for lack of a better word, it's the acceptance of the discretionary portion of the funding, as well as the good faith effort of the indexing portion of that funding. It came in last week for $1,022,585,000.
I can't even say that. Would you entertain a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the receipt of the discretionary distribution from the Secretary of Interior from the Montana Water Rights Protection Act? Motion by Ellie, second by Mike. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Carol.
What kind of interest does that raise a day? Just at 2%, I mean, just to say.
So the uninvested portion of it is in something called the overnighter. The overnighter rate right now is between 0.45 and 0.50%. On Friday of last week, I made $175 million worth of transactions at a minimum rate of 1.23, at a midpoint rate of 2.23, and at a max rate of 4.80 on up to 25 million of that. So we're legging into the marketplace over the next 4 to 6 weeks. There's Chairman Powell at the Federal Reserve is making comments the week of the 13th, which we believe may have an upward impact on interest rates as they decide perhaps to add 50 or 75 basis points to the prime lending rate. So our objective is to to leg into the investment strategy over the next 4 to 6 weeks so that we can take advantage of the rising interest rate market.
Go ahead, Carol.
I don't believe you answered my question.
In dollars,
Yes.
$1 billion at 1% is $10 million a
I
year.
should probably know that, right? It's that simple, but yeah, I just had to hear it.
I apologize, but $1 billion at 1% is $10 million a year.
Wow. Thank you.
Divide that by 365. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please show of hands. Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next proposed resolution starts on page 11. You may recall at the land use the discussion about 6 weeks ago, there was a discussion about moving the Ranald McDonald property into a income producing status. This resolution accomplishes that by designating that property as an income producing asset. Just a quick update for you. It is ready to be listed on a public site. The only hiccup that we're waiting for is the turning on of the cable and the internet access, but we're very close to having that market ready for the entire summer season. And we look forward to providing reports on that as we have success in that arena. But this resolution moves that property into that status.
Go ahead, Len.
So how much are we going to be renting that out for?
So to put it in perspective, our target is close to $1,000. Pardon me. Our biggest competitor is at $1,000 a night. We haven't determined what the market price will be for that yet. I'll have a conversation with the property manager today and Janet Campbell, and we should have that number for you. And I'm happy to email that out to you.
And that includes use of the dock down below?
That's correct. The last 4.5 weeks, we've done an entire safety assessment and a polish up of the property. We've purchased appropriate furniture in order to make the maximum use of the facility. We've updated the docks in order to make sure that that's safe and usable. And right now we're contemplating, we're in discussion with the insurance company as to whether or not we should have kayaks and life jackets available for the use and pleasure of the guests. And we want to make sure that we're addressing those opportunities with a clear mind before we make that available.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the former Ranald McDonald home and property to be designated for the highest and best use for income generation. Motion by Bing, second by Carol. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of council. On page 14, we are requesting a bank resolution for signature card changes. This would remove Lorma Sloan, who retired last July, and add Tara Scare, our new accountant. We just hired her about a month ago, so we figured it'd be appropriate to make the changes.
Sounds real good, Pete. Go ahead, Glenn.
How many years did Lorma work for the tribes?
Lorma worked for the tribe for 45 years, and I think there was 30 years with credit, and then there were some with housing authority as well.
Oh, okay.
Motion by Carol to approve the resolution providing new signature authority for certain tribal accounts established at Eagle Bank due to staffing changes.
Should tribal credit be in that too? Writing a new signature authority for certain tribal accounts, but it's actually for tribal credit in particular or not?
Yes, specifically for tribal credit.
Specifically for tribal credit. Second by Ellie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Greg.
Good job, man.
Okay, next we have Carrie Eunice from the Wildlife Program. Carrie, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Tribal Chairman and Council, for having me this morning. I'll go ahead and jump right in. So first up on your council packet on page 18, I am applying for a grant proposal through APHIS. Excuse me. And what this is for, it is, and I've already talked with contracts and let them know, but this is something that we are hoping to apply for. It's a grant that would help us fund an expansion of our chronic wasting. Share screen is available. Let me see, Jennifer, if I can share my screen. Let's see, I'm gonna try. Believe this. Can you see the proposal there?
Yes, we can, Carrie.
Okay, thank you. So what this is it's a proposal, or it's a funding that would help us to expand and build off of our current chronic wasting disease surveillance here on the Flathead Reservation. So chronic wasting disease is a disease that attacks big game, so species. So you have your elk, your deer, your moose, and other ungulate populations. And currently it has been detected in Montana in 2017, and it hasn't reached the reservation borders, but I believe I have a map in here. Maybe I didn't add it. That essentially has been detected in areas close to and bordering the reservation, but hasn't been detected here yet. And so one thing that we have done in the past, just kind of within our program, is to test deer that have been brought in, were hit on the highway as roadkill, or deer that had to be put down through administrative injuries. And what we're hoping to do with this is to increase that sample, kind of get some participation from our tribal member hunters on the reservation to help kind of broaden and be able to get more samples tested for that, just to increase that surveillance method. And then another objective of this grant would be to, again, continue to collect from those roadkill or predator killed big games. And then what we also want to do with this is to create a CWD prevention and response plan. So currently we don't have CWD here on the reservation, but it is something that we want to be prepared for and know how to have a response plan in place, so that, you know, if or when it is detected on the reservation, that we kind of know what our next steps are. And so we'd probably be working with the state on that, just to kind of get some guidance on how to prepare that, and then and to be ready. And then finally, one thing we want to do is to reduce the spread, the potential spread of chronic wasting disease, CWD, as much as possible. And so we'd be working with the transfer station, Lake County Transfer Station, in kind of putting up or promoting some of these remote transfer station sites to be able to collect carcasses, to dispose kind of big game carcasses, instead of having them out on the landscape. Because again, all it takes is for one animal to be moved to a new area, the carcass, you know, and bones and stuff be dropped somewhere, and then another deer come across and be exposed to those prions and contract it. So we don't want to spread, we want to reduce this risk of spread. And so we'd be working on with them to also just kind of get some alternative container disposal sites for folks to drop off their carcasses instead of leaving them in the woods. And let's see, the amount that we are requesting, I believe, was on the first page, first couple of pages. So it would be a, in total, we'd be requesting about $64,795. And then our match component of that would be see, about 9,000. So the total project cost would be about 72,094. And so I am requesting permission or approval to submit this proposal to APHIS through the Easy FedGov grant program.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. Any questions for Carrie? We've been doing chronic wasting disease surveillance for quite some time here on the reservation and have received funding before from various sources. It is paramount that we monitor this for the safety of our membership, that it is encroaching, getting closer every year. There is that kind of an expectation that we might end up with the deer, elk, or moose on the reservation that test positive. A lot of times the testing occurs on animals along roadkills because, you know, they either get sick, they wander, they don't escape getting hit by cars a lot. But part of the wildlife program's goal is also big educating all our hunters about the issues. So this is a good opportunity to go for this money. There's more money available. This is one of them, and it's really good to get. Any other, that's my comment, coming from that shop.
Have they been detected on the reservation?
No, we haven't had any detections for the reservation yet. So it first kind of showed up, made the jump from eastern Montana and Canada over to Libby. And there was quite a few deer, urban deer in Libby that tested positive. And so through that, then they discovered, they stepped up their program throughout the state, and it's kind of shotgunned all around us. We're very fortunate right now that we're basically immediately around Flathead Lake, and the reservation still free and clear. The greater Missoula area, I think, is free and clear so far too. Maybe the Bitterroot.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Len.
So in regards to CWD, is there a requirement for our tribal members to check in when they go hunting in our Aboriginal, or if they harvest in our Aboriginal lands, to have their game checked?
I'll let Carrie address that, but there is protocol in those areas where there's known chronic wasted disease. Go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, as far, and I could check with Chief Ward and Dan as well, but I don't think there's anything mandatory that they stop at those stations, but they do have, the state has check stations available for folks to stop on their way back and have their harvested animal tested. And then we've also advertised that if folks do, you know, especially if they're harvesting off reservation in those treaty rights areas, that if they bring them to our office, we can test them as well. But we've only had, I think, about 2 hunters that will regularly bring in their animals that are hunted either on or off the reservation for testing. And so we're not sure what our numbers are of animals that are harvested off reservation that you know, are brought back. And so that is a concern, especially with CWD being in some areas that are, you know, hunted by tribal members. So we want to really, a big component of this too would be outreach and education with our tribal hunters to really try to increase that participation of having animals tested either by the state or by us here in Polson.
So we've provided that information to tribal hunters, and they've done press releases during hunting season, especially. It's a voluntary program, so you can have your animal tested. Say you harvested up in the Yak or Kootenai National Forest in particular concern. Then you voluntarily take a sample, and then they just recommend you don't eat the meat until your sample comes back, so you know it's safe. We want to prevent the jump from wildlife to humans, chronic wasting disease. That's the main goal, and of course to stop the spread, because it does reduce the wildlife population. Go ahead, Ellie.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the submission of the grant to APHIS.
Motion by Ellie to approve the grant to APHIS for chronic wasting disease surveillance on the Flathead Indian Reservation. Second by Jennifer. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And so then I will continue to the next topic. We have a few collection permit applications today. So this first one here is from the Intermountain Bird Observatory. They're with the Boise State University. And so what they do, and I've worked with these guys in the past, they have a monitoring or a bird survey system, and they've got some maps here below. And there were in the past that I have gone and collected some data for them on some of these grid sites down kind of along the river and by Flathead Lake. And what they do is they randomly select sites to collect bird data. Again, they're just going out and kind of monitoring and recording which bird species they hear and how far away from them they are at each point. And that helps kind of with overall trend and biodiversity data. And so there's one site in on the reservation that they are hoping to have 2 technicians collect data from this year. And they're outside of the primitive area, but they are, I'm trying to think of kind of this picture.
They're in the North Fork of the Jocko in the tribal wilderness area. Pretty rugged country, Carrie, that particular location. And so to do their surveillance in their time frame of 1 day is pretty ambitious, to say the least.
Yeah. And what they normally do with some of these more remote ones is I think they hike into them and camp. And so that would be one thing where, and I've already communicated with them that anyone conducting these surveys would need conservation licenses. And if there would be camping, there would need to be camping permits required for them as well.
Ellie?
So should it be changed to reflect that it's not a single morning between May 25th and July 15th on the collection permit application?
Yeah, let me grab a pen and make some notes. But yeah, that is something, I guess it's conducted. Yeah, because the surveys only take a morning, but if they do have to hike in, then it would extend that survey print or that time. Page 2.
It would, but if they have their rec permit and camping stamp, they would be legal to be camping there without the scientific research. So it's as long as you're requiring that prerequisite, Carrie. I'm not sure, Ellie, it's a good catch, but I don't think it would be necessary. The research they're planning on doing is just 1 day duration. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And it only takes the survey in total probably takes about 4 hours. And then I think the cutoff time is usually 11, and they probably get started about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's a couple trails into that area. If they need suggestions, I would suggest you talk to Steve Ashley. That's his area he hunts.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to reemphasize the recreation and camping permits for the technicians. And I believe usually they do 1 technician, but when they do go into grizzly bear habitat or territory, they try to send 2, so there might be 2 technicians on this route.
I would recommend 2 technicians with grizzly bear spray. Or 1 fast runner that's a surveyor, then bring along a slow person. Oh, there's some attorneys that are volunteering to be slow.
Yeah, this is a survey and a company that has some long-term historic sites, and so I think they do bird surveys all throughout the Rocky Mountain region. But in the past, so this is a new site that they're proposing this year. This one hasn't been done yet on the reservation, and so they're hoping to start collecting data at this site. So it would be one that they would probably continue to monitor in the future. And I've worked with them in the past when they were doing some kind of experimental sections or surveys, and I did those I collected data for them and for the tribe along Flathead River and along the lake. And so I did keep up, and even after they weren't surveying, those continued to monitor and collect data in those areas too. And it's a good way to just track really bird and species biodiversity. And what I really would be interested at this site. So we do have potential yellow-billed cuckoo presence on the reservation, and they were last year listed as a threatened and endangered species. And so we know we have the potential for them here, and this would be pretty good habitat up in this country for yellow-billed cuckoos. And so it would potentially help us spread our monitoring for the cuckoos as well.
Any other questions for Carrie? Seeing none. I would entertain a motion to approve the Intermountain Bird Observatory scientific collection permit request. Motion by Len to approve the collection permit. Second by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous.
Thank you very much. Ooh. Our next one here is Rebecca Brassfield. She is out of the University of Montana, but she works and coordinates with the Salish Kootenai College. In the past, her collection permits for this study would kind of come in and SKC's collection permit would have this project typically in their collection permit, but they did them separate this year. So this is the first time she's submitting one, but the project, which is to research and determine floral resources, providing nutrients to bumblebees. So they, I think last year had a couple of sites out in Dixon, and they're looking at kind of the composition, the interaction between bumblebees and the different native floral plants, and the timing of their emergence and the flower kind of growth patterns. And so it's a project that has occurred in the past, and so they're asking for permission to continue with that. And it's one that previously would have come in with the SKC collection permit, but they did them separately this year. So this is the first time you're seeing this one on its own. And it looks like they will still be working with SKC and some of their students as well.
Any additional questions for the University of Montana bumblebee study, habitat study? Seeing none. Is there a motion to motion by Ellie to approve the scientific collection permit for the University of Montana relationship to bumblebees? Second by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe we have one more. And this one is from the Salish Kootenai College, SKC there. They have a couple of projects going on this year. One of them, they are having a student do some habitat suitability index modeling for yellow-billed cuckoos. And so they will be putting out some audio recorders for that. And so that we're really excited about that, because that will help us, the modeling, focus our efforts of where our program continues to monitor and record and look for cuckoo habitat and presence and breeding on the reservation. And then, let's see, there's another project with this one. Oh, excuse me. There's a wetland soil and carbon project. This one I'm a little less familiar with, but I believe they're going to be collecting samples using like soil samples using different probes and then looking at that to compare between different wetlands in stages of either wet, remnant, dry, like what their soil composition in the microbe, what different type of bacteria and microbes are in the soil. And so those are the two projects, excuse me, that SKC are proposing this year.
Any questions regard to the CSKT College research collection permit proposals? Seeing none, as long as they don't set up an audio thing at my house listening to me, I'm kind of a cuckoo sometimes. But anyway, I would entertain a motion to approve the CSKT College scientific collection permit studies. Motion by Ellie. Left you speechless, didn't I? Second by Bing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you guys very much.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Hey, I heard there might have been a white buffalo born out there, but I guess it was just a guy rolling in the powder.
No, it caused a stir for sure.
It sure did. Would have been real cool though.
What up? Well, thank you guys very much, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, Dan, you're up.
So good morning, Mr. Chairman, council members. So we request executive session for all of our updates this morning.
Okay, we'll move into executive session.